Redneck, I saw earlier you said this some similar thing happened to you. It did not. I did not tell you the rules after the fact. I told you the rules at the beginning of stream because I remember specifically when I said don't call other people, don't use the word bitch, don't use this word, don't use that word. Then I saw you kind of get like a little like can't say bitch. I saw you like kind of like growling in the corner, and then you said it, and then I was like, well, I guess I'm probably not gonna have this person back again if you can't follow that rule, right? Why did Dylan just say the B word out loud? Because I'm not gonna get banned. There's not gonna be as even as gung ho. I try to have the word generally banned on the stream, but then when you're talking about a ban, usually you can discuss it. That is, unless of course you're gonna get removed for discussing the word permanently, like the N word. That can get you still taken down for it. See how you do? I don't even know. Look at this piece of shit post about Demon Mama. I've seen all the Instagram stuff, I think. Let me see. It's Tyler Bluntman. Can't really. Should this transgender abortion debater debate Tyler Bluntman? The thing is, okay, so let's get into the second part of this, which is Tyler Bluntman, right? And I got this pulled up too, right? So Tyler Bluntman has been like, basically requesting a debate with Demon Mama, right? Basically, during the debate, Tyler Bluntman could not stop calling Demon Mama a man, basically. And the thing is, he was riding like the razor on it, right? And I was sitting there like really like squinting to figure out what he was doing. Because the thing is, dude is a term like a lot of people, like myself, we use to refer to everyone, right? Bro follows less in that category, but sometimes. And the word dude and bro is being used a lot. And so for me, I was kind of sitting there like, oh God. It's hard for me to peg what exactly is being done. But then there was man, which is very explicit. He, which is very explicit. And afterwards, he continues to say he in reference to Demon Mama, right? Even though Demon Mama is a she. She identifies as a woman. One of the rules, and he, as in reference to Tyler Bluntman, was kind of warned multiple times to like, hey, dude, you got to cut it out. Look, I don't care if you disagree on transgender issues. I don't care, but dude, you can't keep misgendering. It's not. It makes a lot of people feel unwelcome here. Drives a lot of people away, and I don't want that. And we're just trying to you can throw all the other insults in the world, but this is one area we're kind of guiding. We're kind of building a little fence around because it makes people not want to be here and not want to watch. And if people aren't watching, then the whole point of the debate is pointless. And basically, what he tells me is, look, I'll try, but look, I might end up saying it because, you know, I don't see this person as a woman. I see this person as a man. I'm like, so? And he's like, and remove me right now if you can't deal with me saying it. And so, I removed Tyler. Tyler said he didn't have the full control of his vocal cords to stop himself from calling women men. So I removed him from the call and we moved on. It's as simple as that. I didn't lead any crusade against Tyler. I forgot about it basically almost immediately after it happened. It was done deal then. Afterwards, Tyler tries to request a debate with Demon Mama, not through me, but like on his Instagram, and like sends like, and then the people, like his people go over. I don't know if he directly sent them over. I don't know if he like made a request like, all of you go over there and like da 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 da. But you know, they flood Demon Mama's stuff and they start bringing up like suicide statistics for trans people. Like, ooh, you're proud of the 41, which 41% means like 41% of trans people who attempt suicide. Misgender her very purposely, very mean, and blah blah blah. All that stuff. And basically, what I'm getting at here is he said he couldn't follow the rules, so it was removed. It's not hard, not complicated. His conduct after the fact, I find distasteful, makes me have zero regrets. He did, according to Demon Mama. Well, I haven't seen any posts to corroborate that, but I mean, I have no reason to doubt Demon Mama in that accusation. So anyway, especially Demon Mama is able to talk shit about conservatives without any pushback. Okay, the thing is, right? If you want to call Demon Mama like stupid, you're an idiot, you're dumb, you're so stupid, Demon Mama. I think Demon Mama doesn't know anything about what she's talking about. She is off the walls. She's clueless. She's a grifter. She's a grifter. She's this. She's that. You can do all of it in the world. None of that is banned. Just refer to her as a woman, though. Not that difficult. And the whole thing is, the whole reason why is there's two reasons. Number one, if you're asking me to choose between the guests that I have, because there's a regulation that you need to address them by who they are, or the guests I could have by allowing people to misgender people maliciously on purpose or continuously with no filter, I'm going to choose the guests that I want to have who are trans. I'm going to choose those. I'm going to choose those guests because it helps the conversation and it helps them out. Number two, if I'm going to choose between the chatters who won't be here unless people are being misgendered over the chatters who won't be there if they don't feel safe because misgendering's fine, comments like that are fine, I'm going to choose the comments. I'm going to choose the chatters who want to be here and feel safe while having these conversations. You don't have to agree with them on everything. You can say, I don't believe this transgender ideology. I believe it's all Marxist theory or whatever. You can still believe that. You can even say that. Just address them by how they want to be addressed. Doghouse Show. Debate me, coward. But yeah, his stuff has nothing to do with you, and everything was just following simple instructions. It's your damn stream. You got your rules. I think you stayed fairly quiet during these things, so I don't know what you would have done in this. What you would have done in this specific situation. I mean, the thing is, this was supposed to be a little bit more off the walls event, which it did become. I just think it went a little bit too off the walls because people couldn't be able to follow the very simple rules. Redneck, what are you talking about? Demon Mama is the same as she accuses. Is her shtick. She claims all conservatives are toxic and transphobic. Her followers do the same shit to conservatives. Look at her bullshit saying I'm transphobic. Redneck, she's transphobic towards conservatives? Demon Mama's transphobic I know I can say like Demon Mama, she will insult, she will go in the mud, she will do that. But she's transphobic towards conservatives? Has she ever misgendered you, Redneck? I don't remember that happening. Yep. She did? Well, that's not good if she did that. You gave her a pass? Redneck, so what exactly happened? Can you send me the clips on this, Redneck? Because when you retell events, I always have the exact opposite interpretation. So you're going to need to give me some hardcore context or some hardcore links. Nope, anecdotal Annie? You don't have so it didn't happen? She does do the call people at their opposite gender thing to insult them if they're transphobic. So basically somebody will come in and won't address her by her. It's my vid? Dude, okay. That's a long list of vids. You want me to watch 160 videos right now? Try to figure out where it is? Dude, okay. So if it did happen, I'm going to predict what it was. It was something along the, well, I don't think you're a woman. And so she responded, well, I don't think you're a man. And it was something along that. Was it something along those lines? Because something like that, it feels like somebody just being served their own medicine, right? It's like it's like you don't punch people, but if somebody else throws the first punch, well then fuck. Technically, you should turn around and walk home. But then again, whoosh. She gets the pass and me, nah. Redneck, I'm asking you for evidence, man. That's all I'm asking you, man. Wait, Redneck wants this cancel culture. Redneck wants me to cancel Demon Mama. Redneck's on the cancel quest. Choo choo, chicka 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 cancel Demon Mama. He's on the quest. Choo choo, choo choo. He's put her on the tracks. Transphobic Demon Mama. I don't want you canceling anyone. So yeah, I'm just asking for evidence, man. I'm just asking for evidence. Yo, Synth. Is evidence too crazy to ask for these days?
Never ask for evidence
because people don't have it. That's a good point. People might not have evidence, so that might be offensive. That might be mean. Don't want to ask for evidence. Evidence is bad. Look at your chat now for the past 5 minutes and all the DMs fans pewing towards me. That's what's been happening since the show. You created this mess. I never misgendered her. Well, Redneck, do you want to come in and talk about it?
Wait, who? Redneck didn't misgender her?
Yeah. Did?
That's a fucking funny meme.
Did he? I don't remember. I have a horrible memory.
I believe on the political panel, or remember when we got together to do election night coverage?
Yeah, we did do election night
and
coverage.
Redneck came in, and he got real mad after he said some transphobic shit to me and Demon Mama.
What?
And we made him fucking cry and leave.
What did he say?
I don't remember. I do remember he called her a bitch over and over again. I don't remember if he misgendered her, but I do remember him saying some
Redneck is a special individual. The thing is about Redneck is he's the man who laws are created for. You know what I mean? Like it's like why is it in certain states like some ridiculous thing like backflipping 70 times to a retirement home is illegal? It's because there was some really interesting fellow who backflipped 50 times to a retirement home, you know? That's why he's the man that laws are made around. Doghouse Show said, tell Synth I said, hey, Lamau, Synth is part of the OG gang. Yeah, you're an original gangster, Synth.
I am part of the OG gang. I was
Synth is here visiting.
Ago. Also, hello, Doghouse.
So if you want to come on and talk about it, Redneck, now's the time before I move on to other topics. Like Mel had a conversation with Dr. Heemdout. Dr. Heemdout.
Yeah, Dr. Heemdout. Yeah. Wait, didn't he like get her to explicitly deny genocide?
It seems like it, but I mean, we all kind of, that's what I'm hearing, but we already all kind of like knew it, right?
We already knew, but getting someone to explicitly deny it after they've been so careful for so long, pretty good feat. I like that one.
Okay, there is one thing. I've been asked. So, the one question I've been asked a few times is like the vetting, right? With last week's show, I was like, how did we have like people on who couldn't just follow some basic rules, for example? I will say that I think that's a valid point. There's a valid point to be made. Not that I think like I hypocrite made saying the N-word look good in that discussion, or he made himself look good in that discussion. Because ultimately, like, the point of these discussions is to make silly ideas look silly and good ideas look good. But I think the vetting conversation is a valid one. I think it's maybe a valid criticism. I will say, though, that none of the guests I scheduled for the event in the partnership with Modern Day Debates said the N-word or was misgendering people. Still, this is my partnership, so I still got to take some of the blame. Is what it is. Me and Modern Day Debates are still planning to work together. He wants to, We were talking about doing some other stuff. We're going to see what it's going to be, though. You know, we got to figure it out. What am I playing? I'm not playing anything. I'm not playing anything. Nobody wants to watch a Left the Circle chick. This is why when Demon Mama won the whole event, I'm not going to undercut Demon Mama to make her lose. But I was kind of disappointed when Demon Mama won. Because I was like, hey, it's great for Demon Mama to get this W. But I'm like, wait a second. Demon Mama v Vosh? That is the most boring main event headliner I've ever thought of. I'm in the DM group. We're like, so what do you want to debate? And like Demon Mama's like, well, we could debate neo-pronouns because I know he doesn't want to debate veganism. But like, I mean, I don't know if we even disagree that much. I'm like, ah, fuck. Of course. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find two conservatives, make it a fatal four-way. Whoever does the best performance wins the title. Boom. There you go. That's two lefties, two righties, fatal four-way this Friday. That's how I'm fixing it. See, hippy dippy, still about the right versus left, still got to drag you guys in some way. Fatal four-way. See, isn't that better? Isn't that, see you guys react? You love that. That's so much better.
Can I cosplay as a conservative?
Can you cosplay as a conservative and sit in? Sure, if you want to.
That's called grift.
Can you grift, Synth? I mean, aren't you already?
I have been grifting.
You've been grifting as a smart person for the longest time.
I'm secretly Ben Shapiro's like intern. I don't know. I don't know how I
You
kept
do look
this
like you're
secret.
related to Ben Shapiro.
Part of the family, dude.
Part
How
of the
did you-
family?
How did you not like realize?
Were you
that?
playing violin with him as a child?
Actually, yes. I was the one who taught him violin.
Wow, that's dope. Oh,
Playing it
Rednecks
before
in
he
Discord.
was-
Okay, let's look to Redneck. It'll be interesting. Hey, Redneck, how's it going?
What's up, brother?
You got to know with a name like Redneck, every time I say, hey, Redneck, how's it going? Somebody who's never heard of you before is like, Dylan's starting this conversation off in a very derogatory manner. Calling him a redneck just because he's Southern.
That's actually a very based point and way to steel man my argument. Exactly. That's the fact, right? It's my name. It was given to me as a kid. It's who I was called because of where I came from.
You're right.
I was born and raised in Texas, but lived in California. Got messed up in some shit. So
good point. If we ever find somebody named the N-word, then maybe we have to reconsider our positions a little bit.
Hey, maybe. The problem I'm having, Dylan, is the fact that you guys don't seem to really comprehend that the argument about banning words, it's a very slippery slope that can be used for about anything. And labeling people transphobic, homophobic, bigoted because of the way you perceive them using their words or the context or whatever. However you can you perceive somebody doesn't actually make it true.
So,
and you banning words, and I call you out on it. I'm saying, you knew what you were getting when you had me go for the debate. You knew what you were getting.
So
you played off of it.
Let's say the first thing is, I do know what I'm getting when I'm booking you, Redneck, and that's why I still sometimes book you because it's good. It's good. It's people pay attention. Now, let me say, banning words, I have to do to some level if I want to host a show on Twitch and not lose my channel. We both know this.
Sure,
There's certain regulations that I have to go for. And the end. Wait. Come on. Let me finish here because I just want to explain this to all the new people coming in. The N word, A or R, whatever, I don't mess with because that word, it just depends on the staff member who sees it. Some, if they see somebody saying the N word with an A, will let it slide. Some will take it down. And you know what? I'm not playing flip a coin with my main source of income, right? It's just not a smart thing to do. Now, when it comes to the other words, right, I simply do it because those words will either keep more people from watching the show, and that's the first reason, or number two, it stops the conversation being about the conversation, but it's now about the insult, right? Like if you say certain things towards people, now you're no longer talking about gun control with barbed words. Now you're just yelling at each other because somebody said, and for the purpose of the conversation, we can say the word bitch, right? If somebody calls a woman a bitch, now the conversation is no longer about gun control. Now the conversation is about, you just called me a bitch, you sex, and then we're into this.
And that is case in point. That is the answer and problem, right? You literally just laid it all out because someone says bitch. Okay, that is one of my most favorite words because I am a bitch. I'm the biggest bitch in my fucking family. I'm the most bitchiest bitch there is. So me saying that about myself means what to you? You giggle, you laugh. Your fucking the followers in chat love that shit. They're like, oh yeah, he is a bitch. Fuck that motherfucker. He's a bitch. It's a matter of it's a meaning of expression for the party.
It
I
is
talk
funny,
differently.
but
it has no fucking value or meaning to a woman or being derogatory to a woman. But
it can be funny. It can be funny, but remember the election night. You were in the call with me, Demon Mom, the rest of them, and you remember. Since am I right about this?
Calling me a transphobic.
Did somebody did Redneck call you or Demon Mama a bitch?
No, he called Demon Mama.
Okay. Well, the
I've
thing
never
is,
called Synth anything bad.
well, yeah. She just told me that you called Demon Mama a bitch.
Yeah, because she had already started her bullshit on me, claiming I was a transphobic. Even before we even talked on a panel, she came in hot saying, oh, this is that racist, transphobic fucking redneck. Literally, that's how it started. So, of course, I was defensive. But you know this. That's what you get with me. If you come at me hot, I'm going to come back at you hot. But me and you have had plenty of conversations, polite and without derogatory meaning. You know this.
Yeah, I mean, we can have polite conversations, right? But that's because I'm getting a lot more chill, man. I've as of kind of like been doing this for a while, I've been getting a lot more chill with how I engage with people. Honestly, sure. For example, like here's a great example. This whole like I hypocrite thing. I didn't say anything about him saying the N-word on my stream and doing all that, even then go against my rules, until he made like a 20-minute video complaining about it, and then I made a Twitter post, right? And now it's gonna be its own whole thing because now it's gonna spiral, and we all know how that goes. But like I've just been like kind of living and let living. But when it comes to these certain words, right? If somebody calls somebody else a bitch, or if somebody else is intentionally misgendering other people, or will not regulate their speech when it comes to that specific area, what that ends up doing for somebody who hosts these conversations is if you're a trans person, you don't want to be in that environment. You're getting the hell out of there. If you're a trans person on the panel, you most certainly don't want to be in that environment because it's being directed so particularly at you a lot of times. Like with the Tyler Bluntman case, where Demon Mama, after the fact, by the way, after he messed up all those times and said he couldn't regulate his speech, he went on Instagram and started calling a Demon Mama a man on Instagram multiple times. And what did that lead to? It led to his supporters going to her and saying, you're a girly man. What does the 41 do for you? 41 meaning 41% suicide statistic, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Just the constant, you're a dude, you're a dude, you're a dude. And you know, I don't think anybody would want to go on a show if it leads to them being put in that environment after the fact. I certainly wouldn't want to.
But Dylan, understanding that if the person that's on the show practices the same bullshit, then it, like you said, then it's game on. It's fair. And my whole beef with you that's been running for a month now, and I've been trying to call you out on, is I've watched you apply your morality on that argument more towards those of us that are on the conservative side than you do even on the left. And if you want to be a fair debater, like you claim, and you want to say that you need,
hey, I'm a master debater.
You are a master debater. That's right.
Thank you.
If you want to have more conservatives or that content keep coming, you got to accept it. You either got to acknowledge that you do have a bias and you play it, or quit playing the bias and just hold the line firm across the board.
I have a bias. Everybody knows I have a bias. The question of how I play it. So the difference is, right? Okay, so if somebody says to you, redneck, right? Or somebody, let's say there's lefty A and righty B, right? Just fill them in with random people. It doesn't matter. And lefty A says to righty B, you're a dumb fuck. You're an idiot. You're stupid. You don't know what you're doing. Dingle dongle, done him in the brain. And then the righty says back, you're not a real woman. Like, I think there's a difference there.
No, there's not a difference because
there's not a difference in those types of insults.
Again, I've never misgendered. Once I've been told the gender identity that they choose, I've never misgendered on purpose. I am not the one. And people can sit here and accuse me of it. Bring the fucking receipt. Bring a receipt and show me where I have, because I don't. Number two, if I don't believe that a transgender woman is a woman, I don't.
So that's why this doesn't feel like that's why you don't see why we consider that extremely serious.
But see, you can't agree with that concept because you don't believe it.
Okay.
If it's the choice of me to believe I believe my own way, right? You believe your own way. That's what the debates are about. But by me saying I'm not going to misgender, but I'm damn sure don't believe that a transgender woman I'm not going to just call her a woman, like she's not a biological woman. That's where I separate.
I will
okay? That's
say
just how
I
deal
don't
with
see
life.
I don't usually I can't remember off the back of my head, but I haven't really there's no moment in my mind where I can remember that you intentionally misgendered somebody. There's no moment in my mind I can remember that. But all I'm saying to you is that there's different levels and different topics when it comes to insults, and going after somebody's intelligence is not the same as, for example, going over someone's
same.
identity. Okay, so let me wait. If this is all this, if all insults are the same, then would me saying you're stupid and then someone responding with the N word, would those be the same level?
Yes.
Because they're just all
If they're responding
insults.
to you, if they're responding to you, yeah.
Well, anyone. Let's say it was a black person said, "Oh, man, you have stupid
I don't
ideas,"
care
and then
that-
someone
so-
responded,
so
like,
see,
"You
you're still
are
getting
an N word." That's the same thing.
Again, Dylan, are you going to walk around with a shade card?
With a what?
A shade card. Somebody's skin color designates whether they're black or not.
No, I'm
I
not
thought it was
going around with a
1%.
shade. I
Well, how do you
don't.
know if they're black or not?
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I don't think you should say the
Then
N
why do
word
you bring it up?
because my point is not about shade carding the blackness of
It
individuals.
is, though.
My
That's the whole
point,
It doesn't
no, it
matter
wasn't.
what they said.
My point was primarily about the fact that not all insults. For example, Redneck. If I said Redneck, that was a stupid point, and you said, "Well, your mother overdosed," would you see that as like the
Come
same
on,
thing?
that's not-
Well, no,
now you're trying to go for some big reaches.
Well, the point I am making, Redneck, is I don't think this is all on the same level. I think you can be like, okay, this is on limits, this is off limits. A great example is in boxing. Like, you can like punch someone in the face, you can punch him in the gut. Kidney, you don't hit him in the balls. Why? Because that is so damaging and hurts so much that they put it off limits. It's simple. And you know what? I think a lot more people would not sign up to box if you were allowed to punch people in the balls, because I would not like getting hit there.
So you're going to pin everything off of your perception of the word that's used, and it can be any word.
Well, the thing
Let's
is,
use moist.
if it's
Moist,
widely,
a lot of people hate the word moist, right? Let's use moist.
mm-hmm.
Is it fucking offensive? Is it? Am I hurting somebody?
No, I don't think it's
pro-moistness?
offensive.
Is that-
Pro-moistness, no, I don't think so. I think
Come on,
the thing
dude.
is, for
Be serious with
somebody out there, I assume the N word could mean space alien, right? It depends on your perception. But when there's widely perceived perceptions of words, and where the vast majority of people are working with the N word, misgendering, or any of these things in extremely negative contexts that do a lot of damage to people, right? And when I say damage, I don't mean like they get beat over the head when somebody says it, but you don't want to engage in conversations,
So you're
then it's
talking
going to
about
lead to
wait,
less
wait,
people
wait, wait.
watching my show.
So you're talking about mental health, basically, is what you're concerned about, because that's how the words are affecting the people, right?
Well, yeah, nobody wants to sit in here and
Okay, fair,
hear
fair.
people
So me
use
so
derogatory
someone
terms
with
for
a
whatever
mental
group they're a
disorder-
part of.
Someone with a mental disorder being called stupid all the time, or fucking this literally can't, one cell slope brain. I could just sit here and go back through your chat and find, I'm sure, plenty. It's okay though, right?
So let me ask you.
It's no different, right?
Let me ask you. When somebody calls you stupid, do you perceive that as like an attack on your disability or anything there? Does it really
My
make you
intelligence?
angry?
Fuck yeah! If you're called stupid, you immediately sort of think, well, what makes them better than me, right?
So,
But
Redneck, I'm
that's
asking
why I
you,
say
do you
that's why
really
I
don't
say
like it,
I
Redneck?
don't-
If you're really
I
gonna,
don't give a fuck. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I am operating. I operate where sticks and stones.
well,
I work off the old adage: sticks and stones may break your bones, but words shall never hurt me.
just
And that's what I'm
because
trying to get a point
you
across.
operate off of this
I
this
have
thing
to.
where, well, that's how you operate, but that's not how everybody
Correct.
operates. With any insult thrown
But
at me, I
guess
can
what?
deal with it because
You
it's just
have to
words. A
accept
lot of
that.
people can't do
You
that.
have to accept that as someone that you have to accept that as someone that's wanting debate from multiple types of people.
Well, no, but
And
the thing
your
is,
side-
wait, Redneck, you do realize if I'm like, you can call anyone whatever gender you want, you can use N-words towards them, you can do all these things, right? If I allow all that, a lot of people are going to look at it like, this is too unregulated, I'm not going over your program. I'm going to lose a lot more people from watching my show or coming on my show from me saying it is allowed for you to use racial slurs or derogatory language in this manner. That's allowed on my show. I'm going to lose a lot more people than I'm going to gain from doing that.
I am in no way trying to advocate any kind of failure to your success. You understand that, right?
I don't think you want me to
I'm
fail,
not-
no.
Hell no, I don't. I've been supportive of you from day one. You know that. So all I'm saying is that this slope of choosing what people say and literally you go through your chat And it no matter what panel I go on, between you and Prime and these other left panels that brought me on and created this fucking mess of mine, it literally is hilarious that you guys will sit here and label someone life labeling them for comments they say and them choosing to express how they actually feel and think because of the words they use. Then you turn around and say, well, you can't use those words because if you use that word, or if I think the way that you think, then you are definitely a phobic, a racist, or something.
Okay.
It's a delusion. You can't keep it up. You're not going to be able to keep this up.
The thing is, when it comes to the transphobia, for example, believing that trans women are not women or trans men are not men is transphobic. That is transphobia.
No,
That's
not.
almost.
No,
Well, the thing
it
is,
not.
you also believe that if somebody got on the stage and said, "I hate black people," you'd believe that isn't racist, right?
Okay, you said if you said it, and I said no, you're biased. If someone blatantly just says I hate black people, there's a context to it, right? Do they have a history of trying to suppress or hold their power or any form of power over a black person? Just because someone, I mean, here's the thing: when you ask me that question, I immediately think of a black person saying the same thing. I immediately think of the color you're trying to define, because with the left, that's the game you have to play. Every question you ask me that
like a
involves
black person could still be
color,
racist against black people, right?
But, okay, so if then I asked you that question, I said, so if I'm white and I say I hate white progressives, is that racist?
You could still be racist, yeah. The thing is,
It's
the thing
biased.
is, okay, if you,
It's
okay,
biased.
the thing is, you are so, okay, I do believe context is important, but if I ask you simple questions, like if I got on the stage and said, all ethnic group A is evil, they're all inferior, they should be exterminated, and you're like, wait, what if the context is they're in a movie and they're actually recording pretending to be a Nazi in a movie? Then maybe is it
That's
racist
hilarious.
then? Because
See how
that's
far
what
you
it feels
took this to
like.
try to get your point going.
Well, no, but
This
that's
is
what it
fucking
feels like. Because
beautiful,
if wait, okay,
Feels
I
like
asked you,
feeling.
I made you ask you a basic question last time we talked, and the question was, if I said I hate black people, is that racist? And you said no, and I left a lot
You're
of people in
biased against black
disbelief. It left a lot of people in disbelief.
And tell me why that is.
And racial bias can be racism. Actually, I would say it probably is. Actually, no, it is.
But skin. Okay, listen.
Racial
Here's
bias
where-
is racism.
Here's where we got to get past. You literally treat skin color as race, and I've argued from fucking day one with you. I see it as an attribute. I see skin color as an attribute, just like you have hair and I don't. Just like you have brown hair and I have none. It doesn't. It's a fucking color of it's. You either have melanin or not, right? Like seriously, we're sitting here defining buckets based off of what? Our fucking skin color? So you keep asking me these questions, I'm going to apply the same skin color, and it ends up being a bias. I've had plenty of my black family and my brown family say, "Hey, so and so is dating a white person." Okay, do you have a problem with that? Nah, but their family does. Oh, okay, and vice versa. There's, like you said, you say there's racists in every color of skin. Sure, but that's biased unless they have power. Right?
Wait,
I mean,
wait.
we've been told
Are you
that
talking
the
about
black
prejudice
community
plus?
doesn't have enough-
Look. I know there's a prejudice plus power thing, and I don't really want to get. I don't want to really get into that. But I think that
Okay.
I think just anybody, and this is how I think. Maybe I'm wrong because I can be, but I think if anybody is like, I hate Group B because they are Group B and Group B is bad, I think that's, yeah, we could say that's racist or bigoted.
Okay, so you're definitely bigoted against conservatives, right?
Am I bigoted against conservatives? I'm bigoted against conservative ideas.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it depends on the conservative idea. For example, people know I'm pro-gun, right?
But you're willing. You're not full pro-gun. You're.
Well, I'm not
you allow
completely
some limitations.
unregulated. Of course, I'm not completely unregulated. But that's like asking if I'm like, Dylan, are you anti-car? Well, I believe you should wear. I believe in seatbelt laws. Does it make me anti-car? I believe that literally not anybody can build a skyscraper. Does that make me anti-building? Like, I feel like that would be a ridiculous standard.
I mean, bro, I just wish you would apply your logic evenly across the board, and you give passes to people to.
Who have I
do
given a
the
pass
things that you
to?
claim. Oh, you've given Demon Mama a pass on me.
Where
Plenty
did he where did
Oh,
where did
she?
yeah, where did she
Mm-hmm.
pass a line that was one of my rules, and I was like, and
So,
I just was like
you
twiddled
did
my
ban me for
thumbs.
calling her a bitch. Is that that's the final sticking point for you, wasn't it?
I banned you from the round table for that, and because I think you're just not great. You're actually not really banned. You're just not allowed back on. But effectively, this is a ban. Okay, what I mean by that is, like, for example,
Uh-huh.
I am not banned from main eventing WrestleMania, right? But the odds of me getting on are still quite low because they don't want me because I want to be good for the format. I think it's as simple as that. And you also broke the rules. So you gave me an easy excuse.
And so did she that night, and that's what brought out the bitch. But that got a pass, right? She got the pass. I didn't.
What do you mean?
I'm still gonna stay to
What did they call you a bitch?
Literally, she called me a slur.
What
let it go.
slur did they? Are you talking about, like, Couch Warrior?
Well, that was a big
Is
contention.
that
And that's why
the
I
thing
was
you're
upset
talking
about
about?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have never. Well, number one, that was not the word. That's not a word I have banned on my show. If you want to convince me that it should be banned on my show, we can have a conversation about that. But Couch Warrior doesn't usually refer to people who are, like, disabled individuals who we're making fun of them because it usually means, like, people who like are yelling from the sidelines but won't actually get in the thick of it. That's usually what Couch Warrior means. It's supposed to, like, have this image of somebody, like, watching the TV, like, eating potato chips and being like,
So I made the point to you that I took it in a different way.
yeah.
And you said, well, it actually doesn't mean that, so we're going to let that go.
Okay, well, if I came to you and I said, I believe the word "the" is a terrible, terrible slur,
Mm-hmm.
you would need to give me, like, a decent argument before I ban something, right? You need to convince
Sure.
me that this term is objectively, like, but for example, if I host a debate with you in the future, if you want me to stop people from using the term Couch Warrior, I'll do that for you.
No, I was pointing out to you that that's why I came in hot against her, was the way that she continually did those things. So again, you said
Yeah, but
earlier
also
that,
nobody
hey,
looks at the
you've used
term
analogies
Couch
earlier
Warrior
that
in
it's
that
okay for
way.
shit talking to happen between two parties, as long as it's directed at both parties. I do believe that if you're born with a penis, you're a man, and if you're born with a vagina, you're a woman, based on our societal structure and how it's been done. That's it.
Okay,
that's
a
what my
Couch
faith
Warrior,
is. That's
an
where I
ignorant
believe.
person who knows little about this. This is not a, but this is basically, I don't know why I specifically talk about MMA. Who has never been in combat but sits in the couch as a spectator and with supreme confidence gives his expert opinions, quote unquote, actually an idiot's views to anyone who will listen, right? So if you
Yeah,
got,
you're saying that to a veteran. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
well,
It's not
I don't think somebody being a veteran makes it impossible for them to be ignorant.
So
God, why is
Couch
all
Warrior
my
just-
ads are so homosexual? Jeez. Anyway, but no, I mean, just because you're a veteran doesn't mean that.
Man, you've been looking at a lot of fanboy stuff.
Fanboy?
Nice.
You mean femboy?
I said femboy, didn't I?
I thought you said fanboy.
Oh, sorry.
I've actually not been looking at a lot of femboy stuff. I've been looking at a lot of yaoi stuff. You don't know? Do you know what that
I
is?
care for you, man. I care for you.
Do you know what
Just
yaoi
know.
is?
No, I have no clue.
Well, it's a really, manly genre, you know?
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's a real man's genre.
I wish you success and happiness, especially personally. I hope that you can get things working in the way that you need to keep yourself moving the way you are. I'm proud of your success. I'm glad to see you doing so well. I'm sorry that a guy used your platform, or you feel he used your platform to take advantage. I just
Can I ask you a question? Did you see that, by the way? Did you see the actual thing?
I caught it after it happened. I actually watched it after it happened, and then I commented on him, and I thought he was based in the way he did it, because he was asking the question and used it as a direct. He used it as a direct.
Do you
question,
think it's at
but
all
then I started
suspicious
listening-
that he waited for me to
No,
leave to
that's-
do it?
I just said earlier, but watching it again with your comments, I will have to go second check that, because I wasn't paying attention to how you came in and came out. I literally just caught that little snippet, which is what I'm trying to fight with people. Like, snippets are not good, and that's all we want to do here is get those hot takes, get those little snips, get those little, oh, he said that word, like you said, oh, I hate black people, I say it's biased, snip, clip, he's a fucking racist. I mean, that's what I'm arguing with you about. That is what y'all are creating, and I think that's the biggest problem we have, and it's going to be.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, when the reason
pendulum swing towards our side.
The reason why, and I don't think people saying like, I can't believe someone saying I hate black people is defined as racist is going to cause a pendulum swing, because when I made that statement, when I asked you that question, I was giving you all the context you needed. Because if there was
a skin color,
I didn't even give you the skin color. I just said a person.
Yeah, you said, what if I said I hate black people?
Well, yes. Okay, so if we said person A, not even give them a race, said I hate black people. If there was more context to give, I would have given it. If, for example, if I would have said a person A says I hate black people, scene ends, goes to the director's chair and said, was that a good cut, boss? Then you would be like, oh, wait, but that seems like a movie. Okay, that doesn't seem racist. I mean, it's racist within the story's context, but not racist as in the actor is racist. But I gave you all the context. When I said, is it racist if I said I hate black people, that was the context. The context was me coming out and saying that statement in isolation.
It doesn't make you a fucking racist because you have a predisposition of not liking someone.
Being racially biased is racism. If I'm biased against black people, that is racism, yes. I would say that.
Okay. Do you date I don't want to
Yes,
I don't want
it
to use that
does.
analogy. Let me try a different. I don't want to do that one.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, wait. You have a preference when it comes to a partner. And we could not use skin color. Let's use, like, is it hair? Is it, you have a predisposition bias for a certain type of partner.
You know what?
Certain
Yes.
features of that partner.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. So it could be, does that mean that you're racist and or sexist and or Xist because you only like that or don't like the other? Because I'll give you mine. For instance, I am not attracted to Asian women at all. Like, they don't do a thing for me. And for an old white redneck, that's unheard of, because we all know old white dudes love the culture of going to Asia or Philippines. It's out there. It's fucking ridiculous. I have an affinity for darker skinned people than me, but that's just a bias, right? My preference.
So I don't really have a racial dating bias when it comes to dating. That doesn't really matter to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I swing both ways. I will say that I'm more homo-romantic. Do you know what that term means?
I'm sure you're gonna learn me. Go ahead, bro.
Homo-romantic means that you are romantically attracted to men. I am both sexually and romantically attracted to men. Less romantically attracted to women. It's actually very rare that I'll be romantically attracted to a woman.
When you say romantic, you mean sexually or the actual feeling of romance?
Like romance, like I'm falling in love with somebody.
Okay, the actual process of the courting.
Yeah, it isn't a huge surprise to me that a person who was a woman that I was dating for the last 3 years ended up actually being like a trans individual. It didn't surprise me that much. So I would say that when it comes to dating and stuff like that, having certain biases could actually be rooted in racism. Yeah, actually. Somebody being like, I don't date black people. And you're like, why? Well, maybe a lot of it could be socialized racism actually put into them, or not dating others could be because you've never been exposed to them in your youth and now you won't date them because of certain racist stereotypes. Actually, yeah, I would say a lot of it could actually be racism. I mean, it's not maybe a lot of it's going to be difficult to unlearn, or it's stuff that people didn't take upon themselves like purposefully, right? I don't think anybody purposefully like, I'm going to be against dating black people, but that can be based in racism. And there's also preferences and prejudice is also different.
Is there any way
somebody's brought that up to me?
Any way you can not want to date or be with black people?
Well, yeah, maybe
or
you
not
just
like black people without it being racist.
Well, all like black people, like as a people,
Well,
I don't think so.
Can I
I think that's basically racist.
You asked me.
Sure.
Is there any way to answer your question without being a racist in your mind?
What do you mean?
I ask yourself the question. I hate black people, right? That's the question you says. What if I said I hate all black people? Is there a way you can answer that where you yourself do not see it as racist?
The only way I could see is if you're like recording something for a movie and you don't actually believe what you just said, but saying it and believing it, no.
Okay. Then then there'll never be an understanding.
There'll never be an understanding because I believe someone saying I hate black people is racist.
And it just finalizes my argument that we had when we talked about this before. It's you guys label everything racism.
I don't think this is everything. I think this is quite blatant.
No. Y'all, your age, your generation, the 20 to 30s, y'all are literally heading faster and further apart with these divides than we did in the 70s and 80s. It is just unbelievable how fast y'all are pushing this shit out. Everything's
we
racist.
did it.
Everything.
Again, I'll say the same thing I said last time. I think it's because other generations have yet to address these issues. So we're the first generation actually trying to.
Yeah, we elected the first black president. We didn't just call him black. He was actually black.
Okay, but we weren't talking about electing a black man. We were talking about addressing racism.
That was addressing racism.
But that didn't address all the racism, did it?
No, because your generation came in and said it's still racist as fuck and everything's racist.
Well, yeah, the other things were racist.
Everything's racist.
What about
right?
like the death penalty, for example, is extremely racist. We could talk about it.
I don't know. I think you don't remember. I'm torn on the death penalty. I am honestly torn.
Yeah, but do you know about its racialized history and present?
I mean, if a Democrat set it up, of course.
Well, I mean, it's not. But Democrat states are the ones that are banning them. Republican states are not.
Now they still got to keep their image. They made the great switch in the '60s. Come on, man.
The Republican Party seems to be the one pushing the death penalty. The Democratic Party seems to be the one not pushing it as much. Not that difficult. Not a very crazy.
Caught dealing with all of the democratic laws that were created during the Jim Crow days, right?
Democrat laws created during. There were certain Dixiecrat Southerners, but it looks like that the Dixiecrat Southerners is not exactly. Are we gonna pretend that Dixiecrats are the same thing as, say, John Ossoff or Raphael Warnock? That black pastor is like a segregationist?
I think Ossoff is definitely a Dixiecrat. Why the fuck did he move from 3 different states to try to run and finally go there? Come on.
It doesn't make him a Dixiecrat. That's not what a Dixiecrat is.
He's a plantation master. That's how bad he is.
I think that's a huge exaggeration.
Negative. He's definitely a plantation master. Democrats still have most of y'all fooled.
So you think black people choosing to vote for Democrats is like plantations?
Yes.
Because they chose to vote for the Democratic Party?
No, that's not what I said. I said I think the Democratic Party. I've said this before, Dylan. You know, if you really want to take it there and you want to get your people really pissed off, I'll go down this route with you.
You're the one. You're walking down this road yourself. You are guiding yourself down this road. I didn't lead you anywhere.
I'll walk down these roads that piss everybody off, and that's what you love. But you don't have time for this.
Do I not have time for this? What do I have to do next?
Well, I'll stay on it then. I think the Democratic Party is never changed their slavery ways. They just learned how to should resell it and rebrand it.
So what about the recent agricultural bill that is actually about getting black farmers to have more wealth and actually be the plantation owners of their own plantations? Is that any different than slavery? Black people owning their own farms? Is that any different from slavery? I think that's actually the exact opposite of how most slavery operated.
And when did they do that? Wasn't that like very recently?
Yes, but I don't know how that would change.
Yeah, they had to clean up a law that was on the books since the Democrats established it, right?
So I don't see how that's any different.
You're going to complain about were rooted by the Democrats
and perpetuated by Republicans now, and perpetuated by Republicans. So which party should we vote for if one is tearing down racism and the other one's propping it up?
Parties left them on the books out of convenience for the
and which one's tearing it down? Which one's tearing it down?
Bigger government. Which party?
Which party's tearing it down?
I'm trying to answer you. Bigger government Which party? Wait. Okay, listen. Again, you can't sit here and claim that, okay, yes, the Democrats were bad here, but they've completely changed their ways when they're the ones that created this shit and had the same amount of years. They've had 60 fucking years to change these laws.
60 years.
You want to say it's all Republicans. You want to say it's all
What
Republicans.
60-year time span? Are you talking 1945 to 19 after Carter? Like what are you talking?
56 years. I apologize. 56 years. 64 to now, right? 46 years.
Okay, so that's okay. No, I disagree with this framing because number one, Democrats have Democrats been in power the whole time from 54 to now. Like they were the majority party. They had the presidency the whole time.
You can look at
They didn't. The answer to that is no.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Bull fucking shit.
They did?
Take a look at all of these areas where we're bitching about these problems, especially like Detroit, Chicago, all these large swaths that people say are drastically affected.
Okay, so I don't know about how agricultural builds are really going to affect Chicago. Chicago doesn't have like a huge farming industry.
Didn't they move a lot of the families out of the rural communities away from their lands?
Well, they migrated. Well, you're talking about the Great Migration. During the Great Migration, a lot of them moved to cities. But right now, we're talking about an agricultural bill aimed at trying to increase black farmers' wealth and get more black people into farming. Because historically, farming has not been the great industry for black people, has it? But again, I don't. So you're talking about like Democrats fixing these issues that a lot of these cities have been run by Democrats, but all these issues are not fixed. Okay, that can be bad Democrats, but which laws are the Democrats perpetuating that are racist, right? That the Republicans would be tearing down, say. And I'm not here to say the Democrats are perfect. I have a lot of problems with the modern Democratic Party. But I just think they are most certainly an improvement when it comes to race issues compared to the Republicans of the modern era.
I think the Republicans are a bunch of pussies. They ain't standing up for what they believe. I think they've allowed the Democrats to paint the narrative that they're racist, and they've been doing so since the 60s.
I mean, they are. I mean, I would say the party itself, its platform.
They don't care about your fucking skin color. They care about the greenback. Okay, let's just be honest. If you want to look at it that way, then be honest with it. You don't like Republicans because their policies are based on capitalism.
So why is it that the Republicans have been passing, like, for example, voter ID laws that were specifically targeting black people?
So do Democrats.
When?
Are you fucking nuts?
Wait. You're telling me the modern Democratic Party is passing laws.
The modern Democratic Party is still.
Tell me which laws? Which laws? Which law did they pass to affect the black vote and to downplay it? Because as far as I remember, the black vote is very beneficial to the Democratic Party of the modern era. I have no clue what you're talking about. Redbeard, thank you for the Prime Gaming.
So by it being so influential and part of the Democrats, right? It's like a 90 percentile, right? So why would they try so hard? So the fact that you're saying the Republic, I'm sure you're leading this down to the voter ID law is what's affecting black fams, right?
Well, it's not only that, but this would be one of the main issues that Republicans are doing their best to pass laws and regulations that discourage the black vote from turning out.
You really think a voter ID law is disproportionately affecting the black community?
The Supreme Court agrees with me. Yeah.
In which way?
There was a North Carolina voter ID law that was passed, and this has happened across many. It was like 5 or 6 years ago. It was passed, and the voter ID law, what basically Republicans did is they looked at all the voter IDs, and they looked at the voter IDs mostly used by black people and banned them from being used. Therefore, since you're putting more barriers in between one community to get different IDs in order to be able to vote, less of them ended up turning out in the polls. And the Supreme Court ruled that, hey, looking at what black people used to vote and banning that is pretty racist. While you didn't explicitly say black people can't vote or are not supposed to vote in this law, you're trying to make it so they can't really vote with this law. Therefore, this is unconstitutional, and the Supreme Court ruled it unconstitutional.
Okay, so that was a direct Republican bill?
Yeah, it was in North Carolina, not exactly a state known for its Democratic majority.
Okay, so by not requiring voter laws, You don't think that doesn't affect the black community?
Not really. I mean, not the voter laws that be proposed. There's certain voter laws that should be on the books, like you got to give your name. You can't just go in there and vote a million times. But I don't think that's what's being discussed in the modern era. What's being discussed is voter ID, water being passed out at the polls, things that seem to affect the black community much more disproportionately than other communities.
So,
and poor
an
people.
ID
And poor
that's-
people.
The Supreme Court has never ruled that an ID is unconstitutional.
Not an ID in and of itself, but it's being applied in a racist manner. For example, like a great example would be like, there's nothing racist about, say, guarding the polls, right, with like armed guards. But if those armed guards turn out to be the Klan every single time, then it might end up being racist. And with these voter ID laws, it seems to be they keep on choosing the ones used by poor people and black people to be the voter IDs that can't be used.
Yeah, you're going to paint pictures whichever way you want. I don't see it that way. What I
That's
see is
not really a
bunch of-
response.
huh?
I mean, what do you mean paint pictures? I'm just talking about what the Supreme. I mean, this is a Supreme Court decision.
To
This
one
isn't a
state,
wildly
to one
controversial.
state. But the arguments that you're making now about
Mhm.
disproportionately affecting
We can
black
talk about the
communities with
recent
voter ID
laws
that
for a
Republicans
great
are passing today.
example. What about the Georgia law with the water bottles? This is blatant. This is unbelievably
No,
blatant.
they said that the poll workers can do it, a nonprofit can do it, but a third party voting company can't.
So
That
the
makes sense.
the problem is, what areas has the longest lines in Georgia?
Tell me, boss.
It is
So I'll make sure to go off your narrative.
well. These are not narrative. What I'm about to say is a fact. There are less polling stations in black communities in Georgia than in the rest of the country. I mean, the rest of the state. They have less polling stations, which means that they have longer lines because everybody has to go to this fewer number of polling stations. And if you're in line, a lot of times you'll need water or food, or you'll get hungry. And a lot of people, if the line's too long, they'll just give up and go home. But if you give that person a water bottle, they might stay and they might actually end up voting anyway. And they might be able to go to the last thing. So banning this passing out of water bottles is going to disproportionately affect those black voters who have longer lines. It is actually quite interesting how a lot of these laws end up affecting certain groups of people much more drastically than other groups of people. But these are the things that need to come into
black, right? They can't get water because they're black.
I
That won't affect the white
don't
voters in
believe
the
I
area
ever
too,
said
right?
that. I'm just saying disproportionately, if you have a longer line, then you're probably going to need water more than other people. For example, let me put it this way. Let's say you got two polling stations, and you have Group A who uses this one disproportionately, Group B who uses the other one disproportionately. And the first one, voting poll station A, clean walk. You just walk all the way there, right? And in voting station B, you got to jump through 3 fire hoops, jump over like 3 kind of like running barriers. You got to fight an alligator, and then once you do like a zip line, you'll vote. Now, there is nothing saying that, say, black people can't zip line. What, you think black people can't fight alligators? Black people can't jump through fire hoops? Black people can't jump over barriers? I'm not saying they can't do any of those things, but the more barriers you put in front of one group, the less of them that are going to end up doing that thing you're putting barriers in front of. This is true of internet websites. You can see this is blatantly online. If you put more barriers between people and actually being able to access your online shop, it's shown statistically that less people are going to end up buying products from you. And that's why it needs to be super easy to access your shop. The more barriers you put between people, and that's not because people can't click an extra 2 times. That's just how human beings work. The more barriers you put in front of people, the less people are going to access the thing. Point blank period.
Mm-hmm.
Same problem with means testing.
Look, when it comes to Georgia, I think it's real simple. Voter ID law is required across the states. That's it. All this other bullshit would be resolved. because it literally is. You're going to use an analogy. Water. You don't even comprehend the reasoning behind the actual water mentioning. In
I
the bill.
understand the reasoning.
It's to prevent the corruption and corruptive nature of parties putting themselves out in front of a voter at the last second.
I understand. I understand what you're saying. Number one, I quite frankly don't care about that. I actually don't care if a party goes out into a community and starts like, hey, here's water. I really don't care. Number one, that's not something that really offends me. I've been working in elections for a while now, and I haven't actually seen an election where there isn't candidates handing out food and water. I haven't seen a single one. And you want to know what? That pisses me off a lot less than restricting that a lot of that access to these communities. Let's also remember that in these more wealthy communities, they're going to have more poll workers, which means those poll workers can pass out water at a higher rate than what's going to end up being passed out in the black community, which is another way that you can see the real effects of this law. The real effects of this law isn't going to be a downfall in the corruption of the voter. It's going to be ultimately probably the real intended, the real effect of this law is going to be longer lined communities with longer lines, getting less resources while in that line, and more of them going home. It's going to be less turnout. And my thing is, I want more voters to turn out. We are supposed to be the proudest democracy on the planet, and we have a pitiful, an embarrassing turnout rate. And it seems we are more concentrated on stopping one case of voter fraud for every 20 years than actually getting 1,000 more people to vote.
I actually just look. I said it earlier. I think it just needs to be a fucking simple ID process. We have to match the voter to the ballot. We have to have a chain of custody. Period.
Why exactly? Okay. What problem are you solving?
A fingerprint, a picture, a signature and picture. It's got to be.
What problem are you solving? Because I don't want to get solutions for something I don't even think is a problem. I don't think voter fraud's a problem. I think it isn't a problem at all.
Okay.
Where's the problem?
It's only been going on forever, right?
Okay, I mean, car accidents have been going on forever, but I'm not going to pass laws to stop all car accidents.
Yes, you did. You said seatbelts are required.
Seatbelts doesn't stop all car accidents.
It prevents lives from getting lost so much.
Yeah, it puts barriers in between it. I think we have enough barriers. But if we keep... Wait.
What's wrong with putting barriers up for preventing fraud?
Okay, let's ban cars. You with me for the ban cars law, redneck? Because that's the only way we're going to stop all these car accidents. Or we should make it so, okay, here's it. You can only own a car if it has 5 airbags, 20 seat belts, goes 2 miles an hour, and there's only, I think, 1 or 2 cars allowed to do it every year. There we go. Now, we've actually probably reduced car accidents so much. Now, basically, nobody can drive, but we've reduced so many car accidents. I believe access to that transportation is much more important than any small gains that are being made here. Access to the vote is so much more important than stopping 1 to 2 cases of voter fraud, which is already highly prosecuted in this country.
Okay. So how does this disenfranchised community currently receive support from their government?
I mean, in what ways? You mean like an unemployment insurance? Like what? That's very broad.
I'm talking about in any fucking way.
Unemployment insurance,
disenfranchised, right? You're saying that people in
food
Georgia,
stamp,
especially in these communities where they can't get water, how are they currently being supported by the government? Welfare, all these other things.
Okay, so the government pays roads. Government has
No, I'm asking you, how do they receive their support? How do these individuals?
I mean, this is a pivot.
They have to have an ID, right? They have to have an ID. It ain't a pivot. I'm bringing the fucking ID in. They have an ID.
Yeah, and this actually, this is a great, yeah, this is the, I said.
You have to apply for it with an ID.
You actually have, isn't there SSN? SSN,
you have to still have a social security number, and you have to have a signature on file, and they know who you are.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
And you know what? When I went to vote, you know what I had to do? I had to give my name, had to give my address, had to sign a piece of paper. Then I went in and I voted.
But that didn't happen this last year in a lot of states. They didn't have to verify with picture.
So, okay, number one, there was no picture verification for me. I didn't need picture verification.
See, there's a problem.
Why is that a problem? I didn't do voter fraud. Okay.
Are you,
Well, no.
Are you seriously
Let's
saying you
explain.
can't
Show
understand
me.
the difference?
No. The thing is, I'm not going to do all these things if we're stopping if it's not stopped. For example, I could increase the security of my home if I install camera systems and bodyguards and gun turrets and fucking crocodile pits, right? But if I don't have a security problem currently, really, why would I do all of that? And right now, I see these voter security laws, instead of addressing a real problem, is actually just depressing the vote in a country which already has terrible outcomes.
I see a nation that just had the highest turnout of voters ever.
Yes, and you want to know what that
Ever.
was? 60.
And
That's
hold on.
pitiful.
You
That
just-
is like
hold on,
still
Ross.
pitiful, though.
It is pitiful. I agree with you. I'm not arguing that point, but I'm saying to you that your arbitrarily hate of thinking that they're putting up roadblocks to prevent people from voting.
They are.
You have no chain of custody between the voter and the piece of paper that the vote is on. You have none. So you can literally just sit here with your ideology the way you're
Okay,
speaking
well, I mean,
right
this
now
you
and
got.
shovel
This is a
papers
good
through.
point. This is a good point. So there must be a ton of like voter fraud problems that like flipped a bunch of states or something, right? There got to be like evidence of that. I mean, if this is such a big problem, like we don't have this chain.
Dylan.
I mean, that sounds really serious.
You
Like, can I see
Dylan,
like the
Dylan,
evidence?
You acknowledge that I just said it because you just gave your own example. Were there states? in the
Wait, but
United
then I
States
didn't
that
do
accept-
voter. I didn't
Hang
do
on,
voter
I'm gonna-
fraud. I didn't do
Here it
voter
comes.
fraud though.
You like proof. I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
In Wisconsin, they did not require you to have your picture ID on file to get that mail-in ballot. And that was part of the contentions with the 200-something thousand votes.
Okay. So
That was the problem. So that chain of custody, there's no valid
Wait,
way
wait.
to prove.
that so all those votes were like voter fraud. They were like
Yes.
actual fake people like voting and.
No, the law in Wisconsin is written that any vote gathered in not in this process is illegal.
Okay,
And it
so
can't
let me be
counted.
clear. What I remember from the state is that there was local officials who said this is an okay way to do it, so everybody go do it. So everyone did it.
The Wisconsin
Is there
Election
any
Commission.
evidence of people actually using this to manipulate the vote?
268,000 people voted this way in those.
Wow, all those
This year.
people voted like with not their real name, not their real information. They didn't.
No, that's not what's said. No, listen.
So that's what
Again.
I'm asking for, like an actual like effort to like flip
The
states or like do
actual
stuff.
document that Wisconsin pushed this year, based off the Wisconsin Election Commission's deemed so-called authority, they pushed out a single ballot form where you would pull up to a polling place or one of those drive-bys, and they would give you this one piece of paper that had at the very top, "Please sign here saying you're requesting to use this ballot as your official ballot," and that's it. There was no actual constitutional way of grabbing the file that's already written in law.
Why should there be
in
more?
Wisconsin. So in Wisconsin, you're supposed to apply for the ballot, and then there's a period of time between the reception of that application and then the ballot getting to you. And there's two checks against your identity that happen. Once against your signature and once against your picture and signature. So all of the votes that were gathered without that verification broke the law. And the Supreme Court agreed that. But then they shot it down. They pushed it down to a lower court and says, well, you need to go through these 228,000 or whatever it was left over after the number they assumed was legit and go through each case by case to see if the people were actually infirmed and were required to vote that way. It went against the law. So I'm saying to you, voter ID laws or voter laws need to be changed because when you have
Okay.
our country,
But that doesn't
hang
even
on.
seem like
When
a
you have our
problem to
country
me.
voting with just a piece of paper and no physical way to match the party that the person with the ballot. No actual physical attribute other than a signature, which is forgeable. What about a fingerprint? What about an eye scan? What about
An eye
picture
scan
and a
to
fingerprint?
vote?
What I'm asking you, I mean, what is your cutoff here? What's your threshold? Do you just like paper?
Look,
Being
I
the-
think
being
everyone who
the
votes
factor?
needs to stick their genitalia into the genitalia detector. That's the only way they can't copy it, really. Okay, look. So the thing is, I don't see that as a huge example of widespread voter fraud. I don't think anybody used that system to manipulate the vote. I don't see any evidence of it. If there was evidence of it, it would have came forward. I just think that is a state and local government, a one board having a different policy than the state government did, in one of the largest democracies on the planet. and it didn't really lead to any negative outcomes from what I can see. So how about I ask this, and this I think this would be a slam dunk for me. This allows you to use any country in the world. Is there any country on the world right now that is not using proper, like, all the voter IDs that are, like, you can see this, like, huge problem? Like Canada, for example, they don't need voter IDs in Canada. Is this, like, a huge problem in Canada? Is it voter fraud a huge Canadian problem, or a huge problem in any country?
So
well, the thing is,
my take on that doesn't matter.
Okay, it's just my thing is I don't see any other country in the world who doesn't have voter IDs, like, at all, having this huge issue with voter fraud. So I feel like and I don't see us currently have an issue with voter fraud. And I think
everything requires an ID except for voting. That's what you want. You're okay with everything else requiring an ID. You're okay with a gun requiring an ID. You're okay with your car requiring an ID, a driver's license ID, right? That's a state-driven piece, right? But
the thing is, okay. So the reason why
right.
I can give you exactly why. I want to increase voter turnout, and the more barriers you put in between people and voting, the less people that will vote. Now, I believe on certain things, you need to put barriers to stop certain people from accessing things. I believe somebody who's a schizophrenic might not be the best person to own 20 AR-15s. And so maybe putting a few checks between someone and an AR-15 isn't the worst idea on the planet. But I do believe that basically everyone, including incarcerated people, people charged with felonies, I basically think everyone should be able to vote. So if I want that to be the future, if I want that to be the reality, the idea of everyone voting, then why would I want all these checks that don't seem to really actually be reducing voter fraud? And there's not even a lot of voter fraud to begin with. When we have only 60% turnout, we need to change our election laws.
Here's where I agree with you on felons. I agree once they've served their time, that's it. They should be reinstated, period. I mean, to me, that's a no-brainer. I don't understand why they've done a lot of lifetime bullshit with that crap. I just don't get it. I just don't comprehend you thinking that it's no big deal to be born and automatically get a social security number assigned. But
okay,
you don't believe that
here's my law. Here would be my actually the only way I could ever agree with this. If everybody is set a state mandated voter ID, that is the only way I would ever agree to this. Is everyone sent it off the bat? Because then there's no, if this is the big issue, is really the security part, then everyone should be fine with a proposal that the federal government announces everyone must use this ID and you're going to get it for free from the government so everybody can access the vote.
That's what I'm saying.
If you want to do that, I'm fine with that. The problem is, why isn't the Republican Party fighting for that? It's because they don't care about that. What they care about is trying to stop. And the thing is, this is not only a Republican, like there's certain, I would say, even point out my own party, the Democrats will use other tactics to try to suppress the vote or make the vote less impactful. For a great example would be gerrymandering. While the big news is about Republicans doing that all the time, I live in Maryland. Maryland also has a gerrymandering problem. It's just the Democrats were the ones who did it here. So I would address, so it seems to be that the reason why they're not doing this national voter ID thing is because then what they can do in North Carolina is what they can do in other places with the voter laws, is try to use it to target the people who are less likely to vote to them, which seems like a basic political strategic choice. Make the group who isn't going to vote for us vote less, make the groups that are going to vote for us vote more. Then we can win elections. Makes it a lot easier than to actually listen to the issues of the people, doesn't it?
I'm not arguing your point there because you acknowledge that them states did it as well. And I'm all good with that.
Okay.
And that's where I started off earlier. And for those of you that said I didn't say the laws that were passed, I said all laws passed up until now from the Democrats. So if you want to fucking pinhole me on it, good luck. I need to go feed my chickens.
Okay. Have a good day, okay?
Thank you again. And on a serious note, your relationship will get better, bro. Things will, you have a different thing going right now, and you're growing. So that's where things are going to happen too. Don't forget that your perception of being the man, you're a celebrity now. So in a lot of ways, it's going to hurt you locally with the current climate. It just will. Just FYI.
Yep, it is what it is. I mean, you know what? I know I'm gonna grow. I'm gonna do better because now I have Grinder on my phone. Okay, this is gonna go great.
much appreciation and much respect to you, and I still will fucking troll you. Don't worry.
I appreciate it. Okay, you gone?